So we will leave it blank. We will give material. We will give some quantity. So we need to remove the plant that got automatically determined. So we have removed it. So then we have to save this. So when we are trying to save, it is having document is incomplete. Would you like to save or edit the incomplete? We will save. Yes, so we are able to save the sales order. So what is the issue which you are having, Vivek? It is working, right?
Sir, the window, you have the pop-up window just before you save the
Hmm.
document. You have
Hmm.
got which
Hmm.
didn't come in our system, sir.
Okay, one second. Let me check how the configuration is there in this system, and then
Yes, sir.
maybe we can modify the configuration for you in your system, and then maybe we can check. So one second. Let us go into sales and distribution basic functions. Log of incomplete terms. Define incompleteness procedures. Sales data procedures. 11 sales order fields. Purchase order, it is not present here. So there is no purchase order field that is present here. On the other hand, we go to the item, standard item fields. The plant is there, which has its status 02. Okay. Okay. Fine. Vivek, can you share your screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm sharing my screen.
Yeah, go to that SPRO.
Then,
Sales and distribution, basic
hmm,
functions,
hmm,
log of incomplete terms,
log of incomplete term. Yes.
define incompleteness procedure. Go to header first, go to procedures, go to procedure level, which is assigned to sales order. Select that and go to fields. Here you have this PO number, which is the warning. Okay. Go there. to the change mode and remove that warning and or what we can do, yeah, save, yeah, then again go to the item, go back again, select the sales item B, group B, go to procedures, select 20, go to the fields. Here for plant we are having this status as 04, we change it to 02.
Where, sir?
Yeah, there only.
Plant, yes, here, sir.
02, change the status to 02. Now save it. Okay, now go back, try creating your order, slash n reagent.
Sir, wait a minute.
OR
1000, 10, 00.
No, we have to take 10 or 12.
you can take 10.
Yes, sir. Sir, this material we have created yesterday after our session was ended. With reference to that T-A.
Okay. It is not defined.
We have to change this one.
Why you are changing that?
Distribution channel change.
There is a distribution channel is
Okay,
12
then go
for the
back.
ship to party.
You give distribution.
No, sir. For ship to party, distribution channel is
But material is the issue, right? Material is not defined for sales of 1000.
see sales of 1000. Material is defined for sales of 1000, distribution channel 10. But
Yeah, go back and give that.
see, we have given the same.
You give another sold to.
Yeah. Sold to or ship to.
T62.
T62A. No, 62.
62.
Just order number. 135. We have to remove plant.
There itself you can remove. Oh,
Yeah. Okay. From here. See, sir.
Pricing, shipping point, plant. Okay. Go back. PO number, pricing, shipping or receiving point, plant. Okay. I don't know what is the setting that we are having here in our system. Go to that log of incomplete terms again.
Sir, I have to mention something here that I have created one before on the 14th of September. That's when we have finished this unit. I have created one and is going successfully. But yesterday, I don't know why.
Okay, go to SPRO, open another session, /o SPRO. Then in that, go to SAP reference IMG, sales and distribution.
Then
Basic functions, log of incomplete terms. Go to sales order header.
to define or
Define incompleteness procedure. A. Same only what I asked you to do earlier. The same procedure. Select that 11. No, select 11. Go to field. Go to change mode. And here what and all you got is errors. Go to that standard order. PO number, item level, you have pricing, shipping point, receiving point, plant. Here what and all you have PO number. Go to this other window, incompletion window. Pricing. Okay, select that PO number, line with PO number. No, not that select. There. Yeah, go to the top and delete it. You have one button for deletion. No, after no, before that. Yeah, save. Now go to the item. Else item. Procedures 20. Select that 20. And go to fields. Here what and all you have plant. Pricing, change it to 02. 1 second. Give me give me a second.
Yes.
Pricing, you have okay, for pricing make the status as 06
In your system.
in your system. Pricing is there, right? Not pricing date. Before that you have pricing, make it status 06. Shipping point, receiving point, it is 02. Plant, it is 02. Okay, what else you have? Go to the standard order. Pricing. Okay. Okay, now save this. Now go back and again go back. Go to define status groups. No. Why are you coming out?
Okay.
It is 06 and it is 02. Yeah.
Where you have to go? Log of incompletion.
Basic function.
Basic function.
02.
Log
Sir.
Define
Okay.
status groups.
Status group.
Yeah, select that. How is 02? Okay. And go back now and go to that order screen and try to create order now.
Pricing selling point.
Just press enter again.
Nothing happened, sir.
Go and click on save now. Again save. Go back. Right. I don't see any issues because we have already changed everything. Go to that SPRO again. Go to that log of incomplete terms. Uh, Click on that assign incompleteness procedures. Assign procedures to item categories. Select that.
Assign procedures to item categories. Okay.
Double click on
Choose.
that. Now scroll down. Scroll down. Go click on position and give TAN. Standard item only it is using. I don't know why we are getting this. You should not ideally get this. It should allow you to save.
Sir,
Mm.
what if we have delete these item fields from here? I don't know it's relevant or not. Because I'm asking.
Just for our understanding that we are trying to do this, that what would happen if we have these fields. That's all. Just for the sake of our understanding only we are having this. It's not that we should not delete or we should not add anything or something like that. If you want, you can delete. But if you will, the basic concept you should understand. That is it. So the basic concept what you are supposed to understand is that you should add the fields whichever you feel like. In case if it is not complete, then it should not, the system should not allow you to process further. So those kind of fields you are adding it into the incompletion log, and you are assigning that procedure to your sales document header and the sales document item. So in our case, if you see the header, we have some 4 or 5 fields from the header which you have assigned it to that procedure level. So whenever those fields are not filled up, what and all the system should block. that the system will decide based on the status group that is assigned to that field. So similarly, at the item level, we have some fields. So all these fields, in case if it is not filled up during the sales order creation, the system will stop further process. And how the system has to behave, whether it has to put a warning or whether it has to throw an error saying that asking us to complete the uh, fields before we save the order, is how it is what it is decided based on the status groups.
Mm-hmm.
So in our case, we can see that the status group is being assigned, is having this kind of checks. In the general, it is ticked in the billing. So there are certain checks that is happening at that particular point of time. So I don't think there is any issue with that as such, because that is how it is designed. So if you want, you can remove those fields from the item level and you can try to process it, but ultimately it is just for your understanding on how to see whether this works or not.
Mm. Yes, sir. Sir, in your system,
Mm.
what is the exact configuration for all these three? I means for
That is what we have changed now, right? It is the same.
yes, sir.
If you
Okay.
want, I can share my screen. Just give me a minute. Let me know when you are able to see my screen.
Yes, sir.
You are able to see?
Yeah, sir.
We define incompleteness procedure. This group A is assigned to sales header. So I will
Mm-hmm.
go here. 11 is the procedure which is assigned to sales orders. So we'll select this, go to fields. Here we don't have the purchase order field. So even if purchase order is incomplete, the system will not do anything. So we have only these many fields. And similarly, when we go at the item, we'll select this, and then we'll select the procedures, and the procedures we select the standard item 20, and then go to the field. So here you can see pricing, whatever is there here. This is the same thing that we have also configured. And
Mm.
you see the shipping point, receiving point, you see the plant. This is what we have configured in our scenario as well. It is the same
Yes, sir.
configuration, but I don't know why you are not able to get it. You can see, right? It is the same configuration that you have in your system. You can compare this and see.
Mm. Mm.
Maybe, I don't know. Schedule line, we have something. Later, schedule line. Schedule line is a different story. Here we don't have anything. Okay.
I guess they have changed something after that. Means, before the past 2 3 days.
Functions. Okay. Mm-hmm. Bill to party payer. Spreadsheet to party. Sold to party. So one is incomplete procedure. check 7. Okay, if you want you can remove those fields, then you can try to add it again after you complete it. Otherwise you can just ignore that and you can go ahead with the other exercises. So you have these two options, Vivek.
Yes, sir.
But you should, the point here is that it is not that you need to record that exercise or something. The point here is that you should be in a position to understand the concept. So that is what is more important. Even if you don't do the
Yes, sir, yes,
exercise,
sir.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You now understood the concept after going through these things, right?
Yeah, sir.
How the incompletion works. So that is what is required, and not the exercise. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So let us move ahead further. If you do not have any queries further, so anyone apart from Vivek have any other queries which you wanted to address before we start with our today's session?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. So were you all able to do some exercises yesterday based on whatever we discussed in our class, or you are facing any challenges in doing the exercises?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. So let us move further. So today we will discuss about how to use the different kinds of lists and reports that are present in standard SAP system. So we already saw some lists when we discussed about the collective processing. So can someone recall what are those lists that we discussed? Do you recall that list? No one is able to recall. If you remember, we discussed the collective processing in sales and distribution. So there I used certain terms regarding the list. So are you able to recall that terms?
Maybe work list.
Work list, yes. So what are the different kind of work list that you have seen so far? It's either a delivery due list, then billing due list, then we saw something called the pick list. So essentially delivery due list, what it will have, it will list down the sales orders which are due for delivery. Billing due list will list down the deliveries are due for in creation. Quick list will list down the deliveries that are due to be picked. So these are some of the examples of work lists that we have seen. So these work lists, either they will work in the online mode or in the background. Online in the sense it will be a foreground method of execution, or it will be a background way as well. So we have already seen that, right? So for example, if I go here and go to transaction VL10A, and there this is the initial screen, which we call it as the input screen. So in this screen we have different fields which we can use as a selection criteria. So for which particular shipping point you wanted to execute this delivery due list. So what is the delivery creation date range that you are looking at? So then what is the calculation rule? So we will just remove this, and then for example, let me extend this date until 30th of this month. So if you have specific orders you have for which you wanted to display the list, you can specify these sales documents here. If you have any specific sold to party for which you want to display the sales orders which are due for delivery, you can specify here. Other general information like sales document type, sales org, based on which you wanted to restrict this report, you can specify those parameters here and you can execute it. So I am not specifying anything here, so I have just executed the report without any specific restrictions. So here you could see these many orders which are due for delivery. So these are the orders which are due for delivery. So you can see the date as from 2003, it is fetching all the orders that are due for delivery. So if I put some restriction here, delivery creation date, for example, from 1st of uh, August 2021 to 22nd of October 2021. So if I restrict it, I could see only these many orders. So now these are all the deliveries. So you can branch out to your orders. If you just click on these orders, it will take you to that sales order. So I have just tried to click this order. It will take us to this particular order. So now you have the option of processing them with a dialog. Like for example, if you want to create delivery for this, then you can select this line and you can click on the dialog. So create single delivery in the dialog means it will open as a dialog box, and you can have the option of manually going there and saving this delivery. Then the delivery would get created. On the other hand, system, I am not saving this. If you go to the background, so if you select this, go to background, it will create delivery in background and it will give the delivery number automatically. So here if I click background now, the system will now create the delivery and it will give me the delivery number. So it has created the delivery. See, it is saying see log for information about creating deliveries. So you can select this log. So this is the button which will show us the log. So this is the log button. You can select this. It says log display was started. So this is the log. Here you see this is the group, which is just a number which will indicate the creation of the delivery or what error, anything. So all the information will be contained in this group. So who created this, when it was created, what is the number of documents that got created, any errors, no errors here, what is the shipping point that was used, what is the gross weight, all these things. Now I select this group and click on documents. See, this under this group, this is the document. So this is the delivery document number. If I click this here, I can directly display the delivery document by clicking this, or now I display the document from here, or I go back, select this and go to document flow. That also is possible. So this is the delivery which is created from this order. Now you have multiple options. So now here you can go back, you can select this, go to notes. It will give us the information, no notes, because in case if there are any errors, then we will have the option of opening this and seeing what was the error that occurred when the system automatically attempted to create the delivery. So this is a very simple example which I have shown you about the work list. Here we have taken up a delivery due list and we have seen how to create delivery. It has multiple options, like we can create it in a dialog mode, which is the online mode. We call this dialog as the online mode. or the background mode. So in the case of background, what we can do, we can use this program. So for this transaction VL10A, let us check what is the program. So this is the program, this is the transaction, this is the program. So actually this is not the program. You can go back. Now here we can go here. This is the program RVV50R10C. So this is the program which is used by this transaction. So we can schedule a background job using this program. So now what we can do, we can go to SE38, which is a transaction which displays all the programs. So now our program is RVV50 R10C. So this is our program R10C. So here, if I execute here, then it will execute the transaction VL10A. But now what I can do, this is the shipping point I can use, and I can put some date here, and I can save this as a variant. Now, by saving this as a variant, what it means, whenever I call that variant, only this selection screen will appear. So now I am trying to save this as a variant, for example. Now I will give one variant name test, description also. So this is the variant I have created for this. So I am saving this variant. Now this program RBV50R10C, which calls the transaction VL10A, I have created a variant. So I select here, I can display what is the variants that I have created. So if I select F4 help, you can see test variant which we created. Now I can display the variant, how it looks like. So it will have different options. So which are the fields, what values I have given in that variant, it will show. Now we can, now what we can do, we can go to this program. Now we execute this program. Now we can select our variant. You git variant, you click on this button, it will ask us which variant you want to select. I selected this. Now you automatically see whatever parameters we gave, it is automatically populated when we select our variant. Now we can execute this program in background. Now execute in background. Now I am trying to execute. So we'll just give one output device, which is local output device, LOCL, press enter. Now immediate, if I click, the job will run immediately. So immediate I am giving, I am saving this job. So background job was scheduled for program RVV50R10C. Now where do we go and see the background job? So we go to transaction SM37. Here we don't need to have the job name. We don't know. I don't know because it was just RVV50R10C. So let us keep it as star, and the username I only scheduled that job. So I will put this. Today's date I have given. So if you execute, we will see the result of the job. So today this is the job which we scheduled for RVV50R10C. Now here you can see it has generated the output, which is called the spool. Now this is the job, who was created, the owner of the job, what is the status of the job, when was the start date, when was the start time, how much seconds this job has run, and was there any delay in starting the job. So I can select this, I can go here, select this spool. Spool means it is just the result of this background job. So if I select this spool, I can go and see what are the deliveries, what are the result of this particular job run. Now here you can select, this is the spool number, and here you can see the list. So number of records passed is 0. So nothing has happened. So what has happened, the list contains no data. It means that no records were passed, no deliveries were created. Had the deliveries been created, then here we will have the number of records passed according to that number of sales orders that were passed and successfully delivery got created. Here, unfortunately, nothing has been created. So this is just a step to show you how this can be run in background as well. So the same thing RVV50 R10C, which is this program related to this transaction VL10A, we are trying to execute it in the background. So execute now. For example, I will remove this shipping point, this shipping, and let me execute it in background. The number of records passed 8. Now I have again run it, but I have removed the shipping point and I have run. So number of records passed 8. So all these are the records that was passed, and the green ones are the ones. So in case if the deliveries were created, then it would have come here. So in our case, we have some restrictions on the delivery creation because the user role that we might have used would have been different. Here, if you go and see the user role, there the role is 0001, which means that it will only list down the orders. It will not process them. So it is only a sales orders passed to display. It will only display the orders. It will not process them. So if you want to process, you need to run sales orders in background. So we need to select this option. Then only it will create the deliveries. Now the job only listed down the sales orders that are due for delivery. So we have multiple options depending on this user role. So you can select your own options and you can try to process them. The understanding what I wanted you to have is that this is a typical example of a due list or a work list, for example. And we have different options of executing the work list. Either it can be a foreground mode or it can be a background mode. So how we execute in foreground, it will open a dialog and we can save it. But in a background, you will not have all those options. The system will automatically create the delivery. So similarly, we have billing due list, which will list down the deliveries that are due for billing. Similarly, we have picking list, which will display the list of deliveries that are due for picking. Similarly, we have goods issue, many things like we have this transaction VL060, which is the outbound delivery monitor, where you can list down different documents that are due for any specific process. So this is about the work list. So I started with something, but I ended up with some other thing. So basically, I wanted you to understand what is the list and what is the report. So now we have something called the information systems. So before we move that, are you guys clear until what we discussed now, or you have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, about others?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. So let us move further. Let us try to understand what are the sources of information in sales and distribution. So how do we analyze data in sales and distribution? There are many ways which we can use to analyze the data. So from a technical point of view, like we have some standard list transactions, we have generic reporting tools, and we have sales information system. So there are some list of transactions in SAP's standard reporting tools, which we can directly download from the database. So for example, you wanted to know what are the list of sales orders that got created for a particular sold to party, or for a particular material, or for a particular date range. So if you want to have a list of a kind of a report which displays that information, then we have certain transactions. Now for example, we have a transaction called VA05, for example. Now, okay, let me go through the path so that you can understand it better. So you have logistics, sales and distribution, sales, order. So okay, see here you have it. Sorry about that. See, here you go. You go to, from the beginning, let us go to logistics, sales and distribution, sales support, information system. Here we have list sales orders. So VA05 is the transaction which lists the sales orders. Now we select this. Now if I want to list down sales orders, we have different options. So this is the input screen. We can list down sales orders for a particular sold to party, or for a particular material, or based on a certain purchase order number and within a certain date range. Here we have the selection criteria, whether you want to display all the orders which are open for which delivery is not created, or whether you want to display all the orders which are completed, or whether you wanted to display only the orders which was created by you. So these are the different options which you have in the selection criteria. Now let us try to list down all the orders which we created for this material ATE21, and let us give the sales organization 1000, distribution channel 10, and division 00. Press enter. Now you can see it is displaying the orders that were created on for this material only, and what are the documents you can see here. Now if you want to go to that particular document, you can double click, or you can ideally it should go, it's going. Okay, so these are the different orders which got created for this particular material. So now here you can have the option of how to go to these orders, or how to display them. So there are different options here. So you can select here, you can click on choose detail, total line. So you select this on detail. So it will give us more details about that in the pop-up window. Who created this? What is the sales office? What is the exchange rate at that time? So all these information from the sales order will be fetched here in the details. So then we have other options to filter this. We can set a filter here. You can select this. We can filter by these document numbers. So you can see how many documents were created here. You can see all those documents. If you want to select only one document, then you select that document, and if you press enter, only that will get displayed. So you can have that option. So you can delete the filter. Then you want to know the total. So here you have this total of all the value of all the orders you put here. You have this. Then we can create a variant like how we created for the delivery due list. Then you have this option of sorting in ascending, sorting in descending, select all, deselect all. So here you can select this order, then you can go to display originals. It will go and display the originals. It will display the attachment in the order. If we go to this select document, it will display the document. It will display the sales order in the change mode. So similarly, you can select and check the document status. What is the status of the document? This we have, and here you can go check the document flow. This is the order is in open status only, and then from here you can go and view the customer master, partner address, and material master for this particular order which you have selected. So these are the options that this list will provide you. So mass change, you can go. Yesterday we were discussing how to change mass in mass, right? So you can display all the orders, and you can go in mass. You can change the plans in all these orders. So for all these orders, earlier, if for example, if it was 1200, so earlier it was 1200, sorry, and now you want to change it to 1000, then you can go and select. So there is no plan 1200 that is found in these orders. So this is one way of changing the information in mass way. So if you want to carry out a new pricing, new currency, or new material, new plant, you can do that here. So how the data is received for this report is what we are looking at. So now we have this report VA05 which we have executed for this particular material and for a specific date range. Now, as I have been telling you, you have been seeing the data where it is stored actually. So any kind of data, be it transactional data. If it is a transactional data, then what are the transactional data? See, you create a sales order, you create a delivery, you create a invoice or a billing document, you created a transfer order. All these are examples of transactional data. And we have something called the master data. So that is the customer master, material master, customer material information record, condition master, or the price conditions, the output conditions. All those things are examples of master data. So all these transactional data or master data will be stored in SAP in the form of database tables. So whenever you are trying to execute some reports like this, so list of sales orders, list of billing documents, list of contracts, all these things, list of inquiries, list of quotations, anything you can execute. So it will pull the data from the database tables. So always it will go to the database table and it will fetch the data and display it in the report. This is one way of displaying the report. The other way is by writing some query. So in case if you wanted to fetch data from two or more tables, you can create a SAP query using transaction SQ01. You can create a query amongst the tables which you wanted to fetch the data. You can create a query for those tables and you can display the final result by querying those tables. That is another way. There is one more way where we fetch data into a specific kind of a table which we call it as infrastructures. So there what we do, the data that is already present in the table will be fetched into an infrastructure. So for example, here in the illustration you can see this is the general sources of sales and distribution information. Here you see that master data or the document data are stored in tables. So SAP query is what I told. So we can use SAP query to fetch the data from these tables, or we can use SAP lists and reports. Example is the list of sales orders, list of deliveries, all these. It will fetch data from this transactional data table or master data table. On the other hand, we have something called this information structure or info structures. So info structure, what it will do, it will try to take this data from the uh, tables, corresponding database tables, and it will create its own data set, or it is also a kind of a table. So it will create its own table, and from that table it will display the results. So that is the example of an infrastructure. So when you use standard list transactions or SAP reporting tools. Now, whatever we saw as the standard reporting tools or the standard list, VA05, VA, VF05, all these are standard reports, which will fetch the relevant data is directly loaded from the corresponding tables on the database. When you use the analysis of the sales information system, the respective data will be compressed from the sales and distribution documents and kept in separate tables. And then the data can be used for various analytics and will help you make strategic business decisions. So here that is what is happening. It will take the data from this and it will store it in infrastructure in a compressed form. And whenever you want this execute the sales information system information, then it will pull data from these tables and it will display. So this is two kind of analysis is possible based on this data. One is the standard analysis and another is the flexible analysis. So here we saw what are the different types of lists: online lists or work lists. So online lists is, for example, what I told you is the list of sales order report, for example, VA05. So that is one example of an online list. And work list, we have seen what are the different examples of work list. It can be a delivery due list, billing due list, or a picking list. These are examples of work list. So here you can see in this illustration what are online lists and what are work lists. So how to work with these lists and reports. So you have the option of filter, you have option of adding or deleting columns. You can navigate to a certain document, display status information for each document. This is what I have shown you a few minutes back inside the list. So this is what we have seen, how to extract report at sold to party level, and what are the different functions that we can use here. So any doubts so far on these concepts before we move further?
No, sir.
Okay, so these are all I have showed you in the system. From that report itself, how to branch on to the document flow, how to check the status of the particular document which you have selected. So all this is the kind of analysis that you can perform based on this list functionality. So the lists are of two types: online list and work list. So what is a work list and what is online list, we have seen in detail. Now, apart from that, we have something called the sales information system. How data will be fetched onto these sales information systems is through infrastructures. So what is infrastructure is nothing but the data which is already held in the tables will be compressed and it will be stored in the info structures. So whenever you are executing a particular sales information system, then the data will be fetched from these info structures, and depending on the kind of analysis that you wanted to do, the system will display those information. It can be either a standard analysis or a flexible analysis. So let us look at them in the system, how they look like. It is a out and out theoretical concept. So here we can go to logistics, sales and distribution, sales information system. So here you have standard analysis and flexible analysis. So standard analysis can go select this MCTC transaction. Here for any particular material, how we want to take their report. So here you see under what sales org, let's give 1000, what distribution channel, let us give 10. So period to analyze dot 07 dot 2021 to 909 dot from July to September. You are going to analyze the data for this particular material for the sales org and distribution channel. So we will execute and look at how this looks like. So here you can see the material. This is the description of the material. The volume of the incoming orders is for this much, and this is the volume of the sales, and these are the open order quantity, and these are the quantities that were billed. Now you can switch down to this drill down. You have this option under which now this is displayed in the material level. Now if you want to display this at the distribution level, you select this. Now at the level of distribution channel, we will see this report. Similarly, we can drill down to any other levels you want. At the sales org level, you want to have this. So this is how it is. So if you want to go to drill down by is what we saw, hierarchy drill down. So many options of drilling down. So you can go into each and every one and you can view how this looks like. So if you want to go to the sales orders list for this, then it will go to VA01. Sorry, VA05 transaction. It will call from here, so that for this particular material, what were the orders that got created. So you can enter and you can look at these orders. So from that standard analysis window, you can call these transactions also. So now you can see the master data, you can see the document. So you can go from here, you can see the material master for this material. So these options, there are multiple options here, from starting from this edit, go to view, extras. So you can look at each one of them, and you can also download this as a file in your PC. It can be in any format. It can be in Excel format, or it can be in a notepad, or it can be in any other format. You can download this file. So graphics, if you want to display the graphs for this, then based on this you can choose the figures. So you can see how the graphs are displayed. So these are the analysis. So this is, you can see the graph. So I have selected all the 4 coordinates. So if you want, you can select a graph with 2 coordinates: incoming orders, sales. So for example, you select only these 2 coordinates, the graph will look like this. So you can create a graph. Then you can drill down options, analysis, currency. So what is the currency if you wanted to analyze? So here all the orders were created in euro. So you want to analyze this in the euro currency. So here you can see the analysis. So time series graphs. So there are many multiple options, you can explore them. So it is just a very standard way to analyze this data. You have other options as well like this. You can analyze at sales org level, at shipping point level, sales employee level, sales office level. So all these options are present in this standard analysis. So whatever data is coming for this, it is coming through the infrastructure. It will not come from the database tables, unlike the standard list. Unlike the standard lists and reports, which will fetch the data from the database tables. Here the data will be sent from the database tables into compressed format of dataset tables, which we call it as the infrastructures. So any doubt on this so far?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. So this is the standard analysis. So you can go through them in your leisure time. And here we have this flexible analysis also. So how this works also you can see. So you want to create an evaluation structure, you want to create an evaluation model. So for example, these are all the info structures I told you. So S001 is the customer infrastructure, so we can use S004, which is a material infrastructure. So all the infrastructures that we create in the SAP will start from S. So if it starts with S, then it is called a infrastructure. So it is executing this evaluation. Just give it some time. So we have generated a report group for this analysis. So see what are the entire records it will fetch. So for the material, what are all the different uh, orders that were created for which sales areas, what was the order quantity, what was the incoming quantity. So here you can see it is a pretty long report. So this is the analysis of the S004 infrastructure based on this material. So S004 is the infrastructure which we have for material, and this is what it looks like. So here you can see all the documents that were created and what are the materials. So these are all the materials. which are being used in our system. So for all the materials, it will come up with the analysis. So if you want to have it for any specific material, then you can specify the material before this analysis, so that it will take the report only for that particular material. No better. So material means it has to be a particular group. So material description, based on that it will pick. So let us take this material. So generally it will ask for the description. Based on the description, it is picking it up. So here maybe we need to provide some description here. So maybe we can provide some description of the material, and then we can try to execute this. So these are the options of how we perform the flexible and the standard analysis. So you can take some time and you can revisit this analysis part. So this is what I have shown you in the analysis. So here you can see in the information system, there are different kind of information systems that are present at this point of time. So there are sales information system, there are purchase information system, inventory controlling, transportation information system, shop floor information system, quality management information system, plant maintenance information system. So these are the information systems that are present in the logistics information system. So if you go here to the logistics information system, then these are the information systems. So we can go to logistics. Here you can go to sales and distribution. Here you have sales information system. Similarly, here you have in information system for other modules also, like shop floor management, plant maintenance. So those kind of information systems would be present here. Here you can see similar plant maintenance also has its own information system. So similarly, it will be for no. So information systems, here also you have certain information systems. So for logistics, you have all these information systems. For accounting, you have these information systems like financial accounting. We'll have general ledger information systems. So all these things are present. So like how we have for logistics, so they also have their own information system. So for purchasing, you have how to analyze the data based on vendor, how to analyze the data based on material or service. So all these are present, like how we have for sales. So this is what we saw in our inside our module as well. So these are the different information systems that exist. That is what it mentioned here. So during the data transfer, the data can be compressed with regard to the following criteria. So whenever we executed, we saw how we compress the data based on certain criteria. It can be based on certain time period. So when we executed that report, you saw that we executed it for a particular time period. See 07.2021 to 09.2021, which means that the system will look for data between July 2021 until September 2021. So we have compressed the data we have compressed the input time window. So the system will look for the data only within that particular time period and based on certain key figures. So what are those key figures based on which we restricted our data? So we provided sales org, we provided distribution channel, we provided the material number. So those are some of the key figures that based on which we will restrict the selection, because we cannot do an open search. The system will try to pull all the data, which will be enormous. So we need to provide certain kind of a restriction, and that restriction will be based on either time frame or it will be based on certain key figures. So in this case, the key figures based on which we restricted our search for the report was based on material, sales or distribution channel, etc. So how do we analyze this? We can see here. So this is more of a technical information. So here you have something called the online transaction processing. So in the middle you have the data warehouse, and in the front end we have the analysis tools. So information structures, you can control which kind of information will need to be passed on to the information system by using information structures. So information structures, as we already know, it is nothing but the compressed form of our database tables. So based on these information structures, we can have certain control over the data that is being passed on to the analysis. So we saw that when we executed, there were many info structures. So we chose S004, which is an info structure which was storing details about the material. So there could be other info structure like S001, which stores information about the sales org. Same thing like S002. There could be many information structures. So information structure comprises three basic type of information. One is the characteristic, another is the period unit, and another is the key figures. So characteristics are nothing but the criteria that we use to which we specify to collect data on a certain subject. For example, in the sales and distribution process, you generally require information about sales or sales office, customers or materials. So this is a characteristic. So when you saw the example of the info structure, we used material as the characteristic. And period unit, I again explained it to you earlier also. Period unit means the time range to restrict that. So we used the time July to September. So that is a period unit. And what are the key figures? Key figures is certain metrics, like for a particular material, which is the characteristic, and for a particular time range, what is the key figure that you want to look at? So you are looking at what are the incoming orders, or what are the incoming deliveries, or what are the outbound deliveries. So what is a key figure, or what kind of a transactional document you are looking at to analyze for a particular characteristic, and the period unit is what meant by key figure. So here we can see how this setup is made for the infrastructure. So infrastructure name, we can call it as S followed by any kind of a number like 0004 or something. And then it will have the characteristics, whether it is sales or customer or material. Then it will have the time unit, and then it will have the key figures. So what and all you need to analyze for that particular characteristic. So this is how the information structure will be carried out. So whatever infrastructure we saw in the range of from S001 until S500 are all standard infrastructures which are already present in the system. SAP is giving us the flexibility to create our own infrastructures. So if you want to create your own infrastructure, you need to provide it in the number range of S501 to S999. So if you want to create any infrastructure, you can use this name range. So what are the different information structures which are available in standard? We know, right? I have shown you this. So S004 is what we saw, is related to the material. So these are the characteristics, time unit we need to specify, and the key figures. So these are the key figures. Incoming orders, invoiced orders or returns, these are the key figures. So this is how we analyze the data. You can print the data, you can download the file into your PC, download it into a spreadsheet, So all these options are available. We saw how to create the graph, what are the other functionalities that would be present inside these reports. Then we go into an important concept called the SAP Business Warehouse. So what is a business warehouse and what is the functionalities of this business warehouse? So SAP platform, like SAP is created on a NetWeaver platform. So we call it as a NetWeaver. So whatever you are seeing in the front end, like the order creation or reports or any functionality that you see on the front end, is built on the NetWeaver platform. So SAP's business warehouse is also built on the same NetWeaver platform. So SAP, like what happens is we have multiple challenges. Like we need to process the data, we need to store the data, we need to do create some kind of a reporting. So all this is managed in the SAP's NetWeaver component. So business warehouse, SAP NetWeaver business warehouse normally takes place on a separate server, because the server what we are using generally is more or less used only for storing this data. Like it can be a master data or it can be a transactional data, and all the transactions that we create would be based on the information that is getting stored on this server. As far as the business warehouse goes, we need more data to analyze the information. So that will run separately on a BW server. So the goal of the data warehousing is like online analytical processing against large amounts of operative and historical data. So we know what is an operating data. Like every day you have some 10 kind of data that you are working on, and you will be having certain set of historical data as well. Historical data in the sense, so how the sales was there for a particular material. If you take, the company wants to know, like last year how was the sales during this time period, like for from July to September, for example, how was the sales for a particular material. So that kind of a historical data we need to fetch from the server. So that is one kind of activity, and another is the operational data. So on day to day basis, on today what is the sales that has happened, so that we can easily pull from these reports. And similarly, we can have the historical data, we can do a certain kind of comparison. So we can compare the today's data with that of the historical data on the same day last year, what was the sales. So we see that in the newspapers or any other magazines, you might have seen how the data is being presented. So, for example, if you have the sales of cars, so last year in the same time, what was the amount of cars that were sold, and today what is the amount of or the number of cars that are being sold. So it will just give us some idea on how the sales is happening, whether there is any improvement in the sales or whether there is any decline in the sales. All this kind of information will will be given to us based on this analysis. So this is nothing but the operational data versus the historic data comparison. So how the architecture of this NetWeaver business warehouse looks like is what we are going to see next. So first we need to source the data, then store it in the warehouse and report it on with the reporting tools. These are the three kind of activities that this system is looking at. So this is the platform for the data warehouse. So here we have source system, then we need to store the data and we need to report it. So source system can be an ERP system. Example in our case is the SAP-ERP system, which is one of the source of the data. And we can use other non-SAP systems also as a source of data. It need not always be that the data will be picked up only from the SAP system. Any non-SAP or legacy systems also can be used as a source of data, because in any business where you implement SAP, it is not that they will run only on SAP system. They will be using other legacy systems also. So we need to connect all those systems to our BW, where SAP Business Warehouse system. So the source of data can be an SAP system, or it can also be a non-SAP system, or combined together, both also can be used. Then once you identify the source of this data, then we need to find ways to store that data. So infrastructure is one example of storing the data. We have info cubes also, which stores data based on some relational data set. So with you might have heard about normal DBMS and RDBMS. So what is a relational database management system? What is a database management system? What is the difference between that? You might be aware. So similarly, we have something called infrastructure. We have something called info cube, which holds data in a relational manner. And then we have other objects also, which will hold the data. We have data tables, data sets. All this will be holding the information that is being sent from this source system. So once you have all this information, it is not enough that only when you hold the information, you need to present the information in a readable format or in a presentable way. So the front end will show us the standard analysis or flexible analysis inside the system. So when we try to execute a report, you saw that in the front end, the report how it looked like. So we saw the graphs, we saw the key figures, how they look like. We saw a table, and all these things are happening at the front end. So that is the how the reporting happens. So these are the three areas. Like first would be the sourcing the data, storing it in the warehouse, reporting on it with reporting tools. So this is how the SAP Business Warehouse works. So for example, here you have these characteristics of these info cubes and info objects. So here you have much detailed illustration. So this is the source system. Source system will go to the storage area. So this is the storage area which stores the data in different formats. It can be info cubes, it can be data store objects, and based on this, the front end will query the different tables, and it will fetch the data based on the query. So we can do a SAP query, we can do any other kind of a query, and based on that query, the system will return the data to the reporting layer. So these are the three different layers. So first one will be the source, then storage, and reporting. So any doubts on this so far?
No, sir.
So this is a out and out theoretical concept. So here you see the BI content also. So business information content contains many objects that simplify the introduction of SAP NetWeaver Business Warehouse and accelerate the setup of effective reporting. So how do we accelerate the effective reporting? Like all the required technical and content related prerequisites for integrating SAP and non-SAP systems, which reduces the implementation outlay, predefined info providers, predefined analysis and reports. So BI content is constantly extended by SAP in close collaboration with customers. It is structured according to applications and is therefore ideal for the SAP Business Suite solutions. So BI content is nothing but the more advanced form of the business warehouse functionality. Like it also works same like first it will identify the source of data, then it will store the data, and it will try to perform the reporting in the foreground. So but it will be in a more effective manner. This will be done, and it is a more advanced technology of handling the data. So far what we have saw is the analysis of the data using the sales information systems, and how this information system can fetch the data. So that is what we have seen so far. So we have the learning assessment at the back of this unit number 12. So you can try to attempt to this. And also as far as the exercise activity goes, so you can go to this unit number 12. So identify sources of document data, use additional functions during sales order processing. Sorry. Setup. Okay, here, sorry. So analyze data using lists and reports, analyze data using sales information system. So data using lists and reports, you know what are the different lists, online list, work list, and what are the different reports. And sales information system, you know how to perform a standard analysis, how to perform a flexible analysis, and what are the criteria that we need to consider. So it will be based on characteristics, time period, and key figures. So this you should be knowing. So guys, any doubts on this so far?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. So with this, I have completed this first part of TSEM 60 module. So ideally, I have told you what are the different modules that we have. Yeah. So TSEM 60 part 1 we have completed now. So maybe you can take some time. So we have covered these concepts until now. So these are all the basics which form the basics. So if we have any doubts on these concepts which we have covered so far, we can have one round of discussion today before we start with the next part of TSM 60. So where we will cover some advanced concepts. So before that, you can revisit these concepts. So on day 1, we started with introduction to SAP, then navigation. You are all familiar about the navigation in SAP, right? So you know how to navigate in the SAP screen. So what is enterprise structure? So in SAP SD, what are the different enterprise structures which we need to define and how to assign them? We have seen. So some examples like a small brush up of all these enterprise structures. So like can anyone just tell me like what are the enterprise structures that we saw as part of the sales and distribution process? Or what is the definition of the enterprise structures? What are the enterprise structures we defined? It's just a casual discussion, no need to be so formal. So if whatever you know, you can tell. Anyone, not specific. Guys, why this silence? Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
I have asked you a question and you guys are silent.
Sir, how to tell in the words that
No, we saw something about enterprise structure. So list down what are the enterprise structures that you know.
enterprise structures?
See, we have defined some enterprise structures as part of sales and distribution, right?
Yes.
So what are those?
A sales organization, distribution
Mm,
channel, division,
mm. Then
sales area, group, and offices.
okay,
Component
then
code.
plant, shipping point,
Storage
storage
location.
location, loading point. All these are enterprise structures.
Yes.
And then we did some assignments. So what are the assignments? We set up sales area. So what is sales area? Sales area is a combination of sales org, distribution channel, and division. Then we did the assignment of sales org to company code. Then we assigned distribution channel to sales org. Then we assigned a division to sales org. Then we assigned plant to company code. Then we assigned plant to a combination of sales or distribution channel. Then we assigned shipping point to plant. Then we assigned storage location to plant. Then we assigned loading point to shipping point. So all these are the assignments that we made for the enterprise structure. That is what I am looking at. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me. You should not be looking blank at this point of time. Be aware of all these things. So setting up enterprise structures is the primary requirement to create your transactional document. So if you don't set up an enterprise structure properly, you may not be able to create any transactional data. So you have seen right in the examples. So on Sunday when we were doing this demo, you have seen right, Vivek, you were facing some issues, right, when the plant was not assigned to company code, or when this sales area was
Yes,
not,
sir.
when the cross division or the common division was not assigned to division. So what kind of issues you are facing, right? So all these were due to this kind of incomplete setup of enterprise structures. So you need to first check if all the relevant enterprise structures are present and all the assignments are available in the system before you try to create any transactional documents. So without setting up these enterprise structures, whatever documents you try to create, it will end up in error only. Okay. So this is what we discussed in the enterprise structure. So if you are not clear, do let me know now itself, because after this we will not be revisiting all these concepts. So if you have any doubts, you let me know now only. Okay. So then we started to discuss about the master data. So what is the master data? What is the significance of having a master data? And then what are the different types of master data? Customer master, material master, condition masters, output master records. So all this we have discussed. So in this we discussed about customer master, material master, and customer material information record. So conditions master, like price conditions or output conditions, we will be discussing it when we discuss the pricing procedure and the output determination procedure. So what customer master is, what controls the customer master, and what are the different views in which you can create your customer master. So what is the account group? Then we have what are the different tabs that are present in different views. So what are the different fields that are present in these different tabs, and what are the significance of those fields we have seen. Then material masters, similarly. So what is the material type, and what is the different views in the material master? What are the sales related views that are more important in the material master? What are the different fields that are present in these views, and what are the importance of this? Then we saw what is the uh, order base unit of measure. We have seen what is sales unit, what is an alternate unit of measure. Then we saw what is the minimum order quantity, minimum delivery quantity. All this we have seen. And then we saw what is the customer material info record. So how to create a customer material info record, what is the important data that is being held up in the customer material info record, we have seen. So any doubts on those master data so far? You are able to create your own customer master, material master,
Yes, sir.
customer material info record. So no doubts on that.
Yes, sir.
Sir, no doubts.
Okay, fine. So then we went on to look at sales process. So where the sales process starts, it starts with pre-sales activities, inquiries, quotations. Then we created sales order. Then we created delivery by referring to that sales order. So inside delivery, we did all the process like picking, how to do a picking. So what is inventory managed, what is warehouse managed scenario. In case of warehouse managed scenario, how to create the transfer order, then how to confirm the transfer order, then how to perform the packing, then how to perform the post goods issue. what is the significance of the post goods issue, what are the changes in the system that will be brought by this post goods issue process, then how to create invoice, then how to generate the accounting document we have seen. And then we saw about some technical details about sales document type configuration. So what is the structure of a sales document? So it has header, item, schedule line. So how the header is controlled, how the item is controlled, and how the schedule line is controlled. What is item category, what is the schedule line category, how to configure our own item categories, how to configure our own schedule line category, and how to configure the assignment of item category and schedule line category is what we saw. And then we saw about the collective processing. So today again we have saw what is collective processing, what is the different work list that is used for this collective processing. So delivery due list, picking due list, billing due list, how to create documents in background or in foreground we have seen. So then we saw what is complaint processing, how to create credit memo request, how to create debit memo request with reference to an existing billing document, and then how to create invoice correction request, then how to create a return, what is a return order, what is a return delivery, how to perform goods receipt for that. All this I have shown you in the system as well. So if you have any doubts on this, do let me know on the complaint processing and the collective processing. So are you all clear about this? Were you able to do the exercises pertaining to this unit as well? Or
Yes, sir.
did you face any challenges?
No, sir.
So
No,
you have
sir.
completed all these exercises or you are yet
Yes,
to
sir.
start?
I completed
I,
them, sir.
I have completed.
Okay, so it is fine. So then we discussed about the automatic data determination. So how plant is getting determined automatically, how shipping point is getting determined automatically, how route is getting determined automatically. So these are the three data determination that happens automatically in the sales order. So in any interview, if you go, they will be asking you only the questions with regard to the data determination. So a primary questions they will ask how plant is determined in sales order, how shipping point is determined in sales order, or how route is determined in sales order. These three, please be thorough on this, and definitely any one out of these three will be asked in any interview. So you can mark this, like these three data determination will compulsorily they will ask any one out of this. So then we saw what is an availability check, how availability check is done in the material master, what is the configuration. So where the availability check configuration is present in material master. So we have 01, 02, many such availability checks. What is an individual requirement? What is a collective requirement? We have seen. So then what is the transfer of requirement? So availability check, how it happens in combination with the checking rule. So checking rule will be for example, for SD orders, we will have a different checking rule. For SD delivery, we will be having a different checking rule. So similarly, for purchase order, we will have a different checking rule. Then we saw what is a scope of check and how to configure our scope of check. Like what are the inward movement, what are the outward movements that will be considered. So then we saw what is the replenishment lead time and where this field will be available in material master, and the check without replenishment lead time, what is the significance of that. And then we saw different scenarios for availability check. Scenario 1, 2, 3, 4 scenarios we have seen. So how the inward movements, how the outward movements are defined, and how it will be considered when a new order is placed. So I hope you all remember that we saw one graph like structure, and we had something called the inward movement and the outward movement.
Moment, yes, sir.
Purchase orders, purchase requisitions are all considered as inward movements. Sales orders, deliveries are all considered as outward movements. So what are the stocks or the quantities that come as a result of this inward and outward movements, and then whenever a new order comes, how the material availability date will be determined by the system. Then we also saw what is a backward scheduling and what is a forward scheduling. So backward scheduling, based on the customer's requested delivery date, we subtract certain times. So what are those times, from where those times are getting picked up? So we saw the pick pack time and the loading time, from where it comes, then transit time and transportation planning time, from where it comes. So inside the definition of shipping point and inside the definition of the route, we have all these times. So based on the customer's requested delivery date, these times will get reduced from those date, and it will go and arrive at a material availability date. So if your material availability date is falling beyond today's date, then the system will try to first determine the material availability date, then it will add all these dates and it will arrive at a new requested delivery date. So that will be a second schedule line. So two schedule lines will be present in that kind of sales orders where forward scheduling has happened. So that is that also we discussed, and then we saw what are the special business processes, pre-sales documents, assembly processing. So make to order process we saw yesterday, and what is variant configuration, how to create your own variants we have seen. Then we identified what are the sources of data for sales order processing, and document flow, how to interpret the document flow for sales process. So what is the significance of this data flow, like when the document will be deemed as completed, so how the control is present for that. So when an inquiry will be treated as completed, when a quotation will be treated as completed, and when the sales order will be treated as completed, how to complete an order manually by applying a reason for rejection. All this we have seen yesterday. So any doubts on that? Pre-sales process, make to order, assembly processing, what is individual customer requirement, dependent requirement, what is a bill of material scenario, what is a sales bill of material, sales bomb. So how this bomb gets exploded in your order, and how the pricing is carried out either at the main line or at the sub line. So any doubts on that, or you guys are clear about that?
No doubt, sir.
Okay. So then today's session we started with the discussion about the various analytical tools that are present in sales and distribution. So we have lists and reports. So what are the different lists, online list, work list, and what are the different reports, and how we use sales information system, what are standard analysis, what is a flexible analysis, what are characteristics, what are the key figures, what are time units, and what is the architecture of the BW, what is a NetWeaver platform, and what is a BI content, and what are the different sources of data, whether it can be a non-SAP or SAP, then what is online transaction processing, what is online analytical processing, what is info structures, what are relational data set, what is info cube. All this we have seen today. So until now we have completed this TSEM 60 part 1. So this you can go through this material, theoretical as well as the practical exercises. So any specific concepts which you feel it is difficult to follow in the book, because I have not gone word by word into this sessions, because that will be too much time consuming. So I am showing all these in the system so that you will understand the concepts better. So theoretically, if you have any doubts on understanding any part in the material, please do reach out to me. and you can attempt to the learning assessment exercises at the back of each and every unit. As I told you earlier also, the certification examinations will have questions similar to the learning assessment which is present in the back of the exercise. And also you should be having a fair knowledge about the different screens. You should be well versed with the screens. If you are planning to attend to any interview, they will be asking about the screens also. So what fields, where you can see those fields, all those kind of things they will be asking. So please work towards that so that you can get through in the interviews easily. So we will start with TSCM 60 part 2. So anything you wanted to discuss before we start that, or you want to stop for today? So what is your feedback on that?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
I have one doubt.
Yes, Saurabh.
Can I share my screen?
Yes, please.
I have create a sales order.
Okay.
Then I try to create outbound delivery with the order reference.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this is sales order number,
Mm-hmm.
and please enter. This issue is happening.
No schedule lines due for delivery up to the selected date. Okay. Now what you need
Yes.
to do in this case is just to go back. Now the date what you are given, selection date.
This.
Yeah, today's date you have given. Now in
Yes,
this
sir.
case what you need to do to avoid this error, go to that order 15161, just to open that order. /n VA03. You open that order and go to the schedule lines. Okay. Here, what is the date, delivery date that is confirmed?
30.
So that date only you need to give in the selection date.
Okay.
So now
Can
you,
I put 22?
if you put 22, you can see what happens. Go to the change mode of this order and put 22 there in the delivery date. And we will see what happens. See, automatically the system is proposing a new schedule line with 27. What it means? So you wanted to have a delivery date of today. Today is the requested delivery date. So it means that customer wants the material today. So to that,
Okay.
if you start reducing the pick pack time, loading time, etc., then the material availability date will go beyond today's date. That is not possible, right? So
Okay.
the system is proposing a material availability date, and it will add all those dates, and it will arrive at another date of 27. So it has carried out forward scheduling now. So
Okay.
27th is the best delivery date which they can accommodate. Now you can save the order, and in the selection date you try to give 27th for delivery creation. See, there is one easy way of creating a delivery from order. Instead of going to VL01N, you just open the order. I will tell you. VL01N is the standard way of creating delivery, but still an easy way is there. Just open the order. Click on that top, you have the menu bar is there, right? There on top you have sales document, right? Menu bar. Yeah, there you click on that. Scroll down, you will see deliver. One option deliver.
Yes.
Yeah, select that. Now it will go to delivery create. Now just save this. That's all. Delivery will get created.
Okay, sir.
So we have seen how the material availability date impacts the schedule line. So the delivery date, requested delivery date, what you see on the screen is the date on which the customer expects the order to be in their premises. So today, if you put today's date as the customer's requested, then we need to reduce the transit time, loading time, and all. So if you reduce that to arrive at the material availability date, then definitely the material availability date will fall beyond today's date. So that is not practically possible. So the material availability date, so the system will determine, then to that it will add all these dates and it will arrive at the new requested delivery date. That is what is happened in your case.
Okay, sir.
Any other doubts or questions from anyone?
No, sir.
Okay, so can we start with the next concept, or you want to take some time to do the practical and complete this part 1 today?
Yeah, sir. That will be
Yes,
better,
sir.
I guess.
How about others?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So how many exercises still you have left pending?
There.
Sir, yesterday's one
Unit.
and
Hmm?
Unit 8.
two. Sir, actually, we have the problem with that material. So we created that material yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So
Uh,
today,
are you
I
still
guess.
having that issue, or you are yet to
No,
test?
no, no. No, the issue has resolved, sir, with that new material.
Okay. So then you can use that new material and you can try to create some orders and you can see.
Yeah, sir. Today is enough for all the remaining exercises to complete.
Okay. Okay, then you take some time now. So then you can create the orders and deliveries, and the remaining exercises can carry on. So
Mhm.
if you have
Yes,
any
sir.
doubts, then just call me on my mobile. So again, we can connect in this Skype itself, and we will see how to resolve that. Okay.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
I
sir.
will be
Definitely.
available until 9 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Hello, sir. This is
Yeah,
Kuldeep here.
Sudeep. Yeah, yeah, Sudeep.
Yesterday we have tried to create the make to order,
Hmm.
and the item category for that it is TAK.
Yes.
Okay, so I had tried to create that,
Hmm.
but as there are two tabs which are coming inside the schedule lines, one is the procurement and then another is the purchase order, I guess.
Production order.
Plan production order. So
Hmm.
production order tab is not coming into that. Uh, I will
Can
share
you
my
share
screen.
your? Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Let me know whenever you guys are able to see my screen.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, so yesterday I have created this order and I have just maintained the item category here as a TAK. So it is accepting, but while I go into the schedule lines, so it only indicates as a procurement, not a production order over here.
Yeah, why? Because the item category group itself is might be different. So just select the material master for this. You can go there, material master from there itself. Okay.
How to go that? How to
You
go there?
can go to the sales order.
Just a minute, sir.
So here if you see the general item category group is norm, NORM. So that it will not work for this. You change the uh, go to sales or 2 tab. You
Yes,
can
sir.
change the item category group to 0001. Then
Yeah.
only it will work. Otherwise, you will not. It will not work. And now you go and create an order.
So still it is not coming.
No, the item category is not changed yet, right? Okay. I think the item category configuration is not set.
Sir, I guess you should try to create a from new order.
You try using this material. One second. I will propose that material.
Sir, how to go into the MM02 directly from here?
It will not go to MM02, it will go to MM03 only.
Which short key we can use?
Go place your cursor on this material in the sales order and press F8.
F8. Okay. Okay.
Material. Try using this T-FS121.
F1 FS 121.
Mm.
Not defined for sales organization.
Okay, you can extend that material. Go to MM01. Select all views. You can put copy from material also as T-FS.
Okay.
Sales org plant.
1200.
Hmm. Sales org distribution channel is 10, right? Distribution channel is 10. That's the error you got, right?
Distribution channel is 10.
Yeah, that's the error you got, right?
Okay.
Slash n. No. Copy from also you put material FS. And 1200.
Right.
Copy from also you give the same. Okay.
So where I should make the changes? Should I make the changes?
Go to sales R2. Put the output tax 0 there. Go to sales R2. Yeah, item category group, not that. General item category, not general item. Just an item category group. 1 second. You maintain it as um, 0001.
In general item category, or it should be norm only?
Estimation.
Is there any difference, sir, in the general item category and item category? Both should be same or something like that?
Nothing of that sort. General item category and item, there is no specific thing like that. So what you need to do is, I will ping you this. 1 second. Let me. You try to create an order with these parameters. Go to VA01. Give sales order OR sales
Yes.
org 1000 distribution
Mhm.
channel 12 division 00 press enter, then give sold to as the T hyphen S50
Yes, 50.
A21 A,
821.
again give the same as a shift to party. So give purchase order, then give material 121
Uh,
T
which material, sir?
T
Okay, T hyphen
FS.
FS 121.
Mm. Enter.
Press enter.
Mm.
Okay. Then it is automatically taking as a TAK.
Yeah,
So
it
in
should
that case,
automatically it should propose TAK, otherwise it will not work.
okay.
Once you save your order, you will get the production order number. Yeah.
Okay, so direct production order will be generated.
Yeah, if you save this, yeah,
Uh,
and press enter.
cost of-
And now you will get the order number. And then when you go and open your order, yeah, now go to VA03 and open your order.
Yeah.
In that, if you go to schedule lines, you can open your production order number. So this is the production order. Against this order, you need to post the goods receipt, and then you need to create a delivery and goods issue for your order.
Okay. Okay then, no problem, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
So I think SAP has maintained the specific KC number, I mean material number, I guess, for this, because
Yeah, that's what. If you go, you press F8 for this material, you will know. Or go to yeah. So general item category group and item category group can be different.
because inside the general category, make to order it is also available, I guess. 001.
See, actually, what I understand is that general item category group remains the same, okay, irrespective of any sales org or any distribution channel. So it will be common across all these things, and item category group will be specific to that sales or distribution channel. And also one more thing, in my opinion, I think this general item category group will play a major role when they create this inbound delivery scenarios. So whenever they do a purchase scenarios, okay, in those cases, I think the inbound in a general item category group.
Okay. Yes, sir, I think I'm clear onto this. I will let you know if anything else. I will.
Sure, Deep. So
Okay.
about others, so I think you can continue with your practical session.
Okay, sir.
So if you have any doubts, you just ping me on WhatsApp or just call me, and we can connect again in this site. Until 9, I would be available. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we will continue with our sessions from tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll start with